What can I help you with on any of the problems? Yeah. 17, you say? Number 17, we have x to the third minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. So we have 4 terms. You agree with that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these first 2 terms, and it looks like x to the third is xxx, and x squared is xx. So I can factor x squared out, because that's x times x. Then I'm left with, if I factor an x squared out of x to the third, I'm left with x. If I factor an x squared out of negative 2x squared, I'm left with minus 2. Does that seem okay so far? This sign here has to come down. The middle sign always comes down, okay? If it's plus, it comes down. It's plus. If it's negative, it comes down. That means I'm factoring a negative out, okay? So then I'm going to look at these two. It looks like I could factor a 4 out of both of them, and I'm actually factoring a negative 4 out. So if I factor a negative 4 out of this, I'm left with just x. If I factor a negative 4 out of this, it was positive, so it's going to change to this. And the reason that works is if I were to distribute, I got negative 4 times x, I get negative 4x. If I go negative 4 times negative 2, I get positive 8. That's the whole reasoning behind that, okay? So then, these are the same, which we want. If they're not the same, I won't factor any further. So I'm going to get x minus 2, and then x squared minus 4. That answer is totally fine. I'll tell you, this would actually factor a little further, but I'm not worried about it at this point in time. X plus 2x minus 2. Okay, but we're not stressed about that. If you get down to this answer, yeehaw. Other questions I can help you with? Yeah. 14. Okay. Number 14, I have 4a squared plus 10a plus 14a plus 35. Okay, now, the hard thing on this, a lot of people's eyes go right to 10a and 14a saying they're like terms, can I just add them together? Theoretically, yes, but remember, we're breaking these apart, so we want to keep them separated. So we have 4 terms. I would say I could factor a 2 and an a out of both, okay, of those first 2 terms. If I factor a 2 out of 4, I'm left with 2. If I factor an a from a squared, which is aa, it's 2a, plus sign. If I factor a 2 out of 10, I get 5. I factor an a from a, it's already gone. So let's just double check, and I'm using mental math because I want you to see the pattern. 2a times 2a is 4a squared. 2a times 5 is 10a. So it works, okay? Then the very middle sign is a plus, so that's going to come straight down. So what's the biggest number that goes into 14 and 35? 7, great. All right, so if I factor a 7 out of 14a, I'm left with 2a plus, okay, because this is plus sign, I don't have to change anything. If I factor a 7 out of 35, that leaves me a 5. These are the same, which we want. So I have 2a plus 5. And then I have these left. 2, oops. I can make a better 2 than that. 2a plus 7. Done. Anything else we should go over? Okay. So now, I'm going to give you the opportunity. If any of you have to use the restroom or get a sip of water, take care of it right now. I don't want you to miss any of the lecture. Okay? You have to take them. All right. So friends, pause me if you're getting, confused on something. Okay, so what our goal is we want to convert this into 2 binomials. I mean, this is going to convert to basically something that looks like this, 5, 2, plus. That's what this factors to, okay? Now, the only reason I'm quick at it is because I've taught for 26 years, okay? So kind of see it. It's finally embedded. Okay? So we're going to go through a process that's going to take us from a polynomial, something x squared, to down to two binomials that you would FOIL together or double distribute together. Is that okay so far? And again, if you don't see how this happened, that's okay. I'm going to show you a process of walking through it. Okay, can I move on? Okay, so we're going to be learning factoring by grouping. Some of you might see the logic method after we've done it a few times, which is fine. Okay, but the nice thing is every problem, if you do factoring by grouping, it'll work. I like showing factoring by grouping because it's the same process every time. That's kind of nice. It's not some trick going, oh yeah, but if you have a negative, then this. There's no trick. It's just if you follow my logic on it, it'll go through and it'll work every time. Okay, so friends, are we okay if we multiply this out? I'd get, you have this, right? Yes. If you did this, and then you did this, and this. I do what I can. 8x plus 16. And then we combine these like terms to get to this. Okay? So we've done that before. So we have gone from this to this. Now we're going to go from this to this. Okay? So we're reversing what we've done. I'm actually going to skip this one. I'll put what the answer is for you real quick. Again, you might not see how to do it, and that's okay, but that's the answer. Don't worry, I'm going to go through a process of how to get to the answer, okay? All right, you have that. I will tell you that this is going to be, let me just see where we're going with our notes. I just got to see. Okay. Go to this page. I think it's on the back. Maybe it's on the front of the next page, maybe, I think. All right. So if there's not a number out in front of x squared, if we had just x squared plus 3x plus 4, what number is right here? A 1, okay? All right, so that's kind of the first thing I want you to realize, is anytime you see x squared, it's okay to say that it's 1x squared, okay? So steps for grouping. Multiply the last number and lead number. So this is my last number and my lead number. So let's multiply 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. And is it positive 20 or negative 20? It's positive 20. Okay? So that's the first step. Does it seem okay so far? Anyone stuck? I'm going to highlight. I'm going to highlight this because we're going to utilize that. Seem good? Second step. Realize signs. Okay? Things to remember. Positive times positive equals positive. Agree? If I go positive 3 times positive 4, I get positive 12. I also know that negative times negative equals a positive, because if I went like negative 6 times negative 2, I get positive 12. And then also realize positive times negative equals negative, or negative times positive is also equal to a negative. Okay, is that okay? All right, so now look at middle number? Is it positive or negative? Is the very middle of that positive or negative? Negative. Okay? So friends, so our middle number is that. Our last number is positive. Okay, so you agree that that's positive, that's negative. Agreed? So we have to use a little kind of critical thinking here. If I multiply two numbers together and I get a positive, okay, if I multiply two numbers together and I get a positive, but if I add those numbers together and I get a negative, that means I'm looking for this type of routine. Okay, so being that this here is positive and this here is negative, that means that our problem has to have two negative signs when we're doing it. Then we're going to list all the factors of 20. Okay, now let me stop there. Friends, where did I get the 20? Multiply the first and the last. Okay, so notice that 20 does not necessarily exist in our original problem. We get that 20 by multiplying our first and our last number together. Clear as mud? Okay, so then I'm going to list. I know that 1 times 20 is 20. Agree? I know that 2 times 10 is also 20. And I know 4 times 5 is also 20. These all multiplied to give me 20. Agree? All right, remember when I said our signs, we want both being negative? So negative 1 and negative 20 multiplied together gives me positive 20. Negative 2 and negative 10 multiplied together gives me positive 20. Negative 4 and negative 5, when multiplied together, give me negative 20. So which factors add up to negative 9? Negative 9 is part of the problem. Agreed? So if I add negative 1 and negative 20 together, I get negative 21. Is negative 21 the same number as negative 9 this week?
I don't think so.
No, not even next week. What about negative 2 and negative 10? If I add negative 2 and negative 10 together, do I get negative 9?
You get 11 too, but that's not.
I get negative 12, actually.
11.
All right, so friends, if I were to add together these two numbers, negative 4 and negative 5, add together to give me what? Negative 9. So this is going to tell me that negative 4 plus negative 5 equals negative 9. That is what we're looking for. Where did we get the 9? This is our middle number. Okay? So what is this? It's this. Okay? From there, I'm going to just do this. Ready? 2x squared, make a space, 10. The 2x squared comes from the very first term. The plus 10 is the very last term. Yeah.
Negative 4 plus negative 5.
Is negative 9. If I multiply two negatives together, it's positive. But negative 4 plus negative 5, if I buy something that costs $4 and I buy something that costs $5, I owe $9. That's negative 9. Right? If you go to the store and you say, hey, sweet, I'm going to buy this, it costs $4. And you're walking around the store and you're going to owe the clerk $4 to buy that. And you find something that also costs $5. Let's say there's no tax. And you have these two things. One's $4, one's $5. How much money is coming out of your pocket? It would be $9. That's why it'd be negative. Okay? We'll work with it. All right, so I have 2x squared plus 10. I left a space. Agreed? Now I'm going to put this. And let me just stop. Friends, if I combined negative 4x and negative 5x together, do I get the negative 9x? What do you think? Okay. So what I basically did is I went from 3 terms and I split apart my middle term by looking at the factors of the first and last number. Okay? So this is obviously not the only problem I'll do. I have 4 terms. What do I have in common between these 2 terms? What do I have in common? X. What else? I have a 2 and an x. If I factor 2x out of 2x squared, I'm left with x. That's got to be a minus sign. If I factor a 2 out of 4, or 2x out of 4x, I'm left with a 2. So this is what we were doing last night, right? This minus sign has to come down. So what can I factor out of 5x and 10? What number goes into 5 and 10? 5. Okay, realize I'm factoring out a negative 5. If I factor negative 5 out of negative 5x, it leaves me a positive x, because negative 5 times x is negative 5x. If I factor a negative 5 out of positive 10, it has to be a negative 2. Isn't that what we did last night as far as homework? 4 terms. All right. These are the same. We want those to be the same. This is what I have left. I'm going to put that in my other set of parentheses. And friends, we have just gone through the process to break down. And in my opinion, though there are a lot of steps, this is the easiest method to go through. Okay? It's actually called the Cherry Creek method. It's not called the Cherry Creek method because Cherry Creek High School came up with it. Cherry Creek County in New Jersey, outside of Princeton, came up with it. Princeton's kind of this prestigious school. Okay, so this is obviously not a one-day lesson. Agree? This is, I give a lesson, I have you practice. I go over what you practice, we continue to practice. I give you more to practice, go over what you practice, go over it. So it's one of those, if you trust me and you don't try and shortcut it. I know a lot of you want to shortcut stuff saying, hey, isn't there a faster way? Doing the logical way of going through this as the grouping method will show you how to factor. And this is the same process for any math class. Some math classes want you to go through and factor as fast as you can. I'm not that guy. Okay? I don't think there's any reason. If you have a process that you can factor, this process works. I'm not going to show you any other ways because this is the one that will work every time. Okay? Does anyone need more time writing on here? We good? Can I move on? All right. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to go to here. All right. Problem number 1. What is in front of x squared? A 1. Still with me? Ready? And I'm going to go 10 times 1 to get positive 10. Agreed? But look at this sign here. That means both signs have to be negative. And let me stop. Okay? So I don't know what factors I'm going to break up yet. But I do know that a negative times a negative is a positive. That's how I'd get the positive 10. And a negative combined with another negative will be a negative number. Any questions so far? All right. Let's figure out 2 numbers that will multiply together give me 10. I know that 1 times 10 works. What else works? What other 2 numbers multiply together give me 10? 5 and 2. Good. All right, now my friends, if I were to incorporate negative signs with each of these, is negative 1 plus negative 10 equal to negative 7? Or is negative 2 plus negative 5 equal to negative 7? Yes. Okay. So that means I'm going to use, both of these are going to be negative. And let me stop. Do you feel comfortable with what I've done? Okay, I'll let you get caught up on copying it down. You ready? Good to go? Jay, doing all right? Cool. All right. So now, I'm going to bring down x squared. I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to bring down plus 10. Good so far? All right. So, this and this, I'm going to tag with x. Negative 2x and negative 5x. If I combine those together, I get negative 7x. So I'm splitting apart my middle. So I went from 3 terms to 4 terms. Does that seem to be okay? Factor by grouping. What do I have in common between those first 2 terms? X. So then I have x minus 2. This sign has to come down. What do I have in common between 5x and 10? What number goes into 5? What number goes into 10? 2 doesn't go into 5. 5. Okay, if I factor a negative 5 out of negative 5x, I'm left with positive x. How I know this works is negative 5 times x is negative 5x. If I factor a negative 5 out of positive 10, what does the sign have to be? Negative. Okay, so if we double check this, if I want negative 5 times x, I get negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2, I get positive 10. Does anyone know what our answer is? Good, x minus 2. And what do I have left? X minus 5. Notice everything's in parentheses. If I were to double distribute these together, I'd get x squared minus 7x plus 10. Bless you. It's a different process. There is a process that works. It does work. Okay? If you go slow enough and you follow the process, and you kind of have your notes right there, going, okay, how am I going to go through this? So let's do number 2. Talk me through it. What's the very first thing I do? Okay, do I need to put a 1 on this one? Yeah, there's a 3 already there. Is that good? That's a great point. I like that. I don't have to put a 1 in front of the x squared because I have a 3 there. Okay, ready? Multiply, yes? And I get positive 15. Notice I'm putting the sign with it for a reason. Friends, this sign right here is positive. This sign right here is positive. That means that both of my answers have to both be positive answers. Good so far? All right. I'm trying to get to positive 15. I know that 1 times 15 is 15. I also know what else is 15. 3 times 5. Okay? If I add 1 and 15 together, I get 16. If I add 3 and 5 together, I get 8. I'm trying to get to this number. Which ones will I use to get to that 16? 1 and 15, yep. And they're both positive. Because 1 times 15, both positive, is positive 15. 1 plus 15 is 16. Next step. Bring the first term down. Leave a space. Bring the last term down. We good so far? Anyone want to take a shot what we put in the middle? 1 and 15. Don't forget the x. So plus 1x plus 15x. And that was a positive 5. Okay, now, a question that might come up. Do I have to put 1x and 15x, or could I put 15x and 1x? Both are going to get the exact same answer. Okay, and that's the nice thing. It's not like you have to look for some, oh, the smaller number, as long as it's divisible by 6, it'll work. No. Okay, so I took my 3 terms, made it into 4 terms. What do I have in common between these first two? X. If I factor an x out of 3x squared, what do I have left? 3x. If I factor an x out of 1x, what do I have left? A 1. Good. This sign comes down. What number do both, what can I factor out of 15x and 5? 5? 5 times what gives me 15? So I get 3x there. 5 times what gives me 5? Do we have the same binomial? Sure do. Here's my answer. Okay, the nice thing is this is recorded. So about 15 minutes into the video, you can, because it's on YouTube, you can, double the speed, 1.5 times the speed, 1.25 speed, until you get to it, go with it. Yeah.
Why did you get rid of the first on the other side?
Where'd I get rid of what?
There's a purple half on the bottom, like not the bottom purple half, so it's plus 5, 3x plus 1. Why did you get rid of the 3? I get that.
Okay. Good question. Good question. So this and this result in this. This is whatever I had left.
Okay.
Great question. I like that. Is there more? Couple more. 2 more. Okay.
4 more.
4 more. We're not going to do all 4. All right. Watch those signs. Yay. All right. Let's see. I'm just going to double check what we have. All right. Let's go to number 5 and number 6. Okay. Very first thing I should do is what? Multiply the first and last. So negative 8 times 3 is what? Very good. All right. So now, friends, if I get a negative by multiplying 2 numbers together, what can you tell me about the 2 numbers? I don't care what they are, but what can you tell me? Are they both positive, they both negative, or is it one of each? One of each. So a positive times a negative will give me a negative. Is that okay? So now I want to list the factors of 24. So I know 1 times 24. I know 2 times 12. I know 3 times 8. And I know 4 times 6. Those are all the numbers I could multiply together to get 24. Agreed? So now, realize we have one of each. I want to figure out which would add up to 5. One being positive, one being negative. So on this very first one, I would either get negative 23 or positive 23. Is that positive 5? No. If I did this, I'd either get 10 or negative 10. Is negative 10 the same thing as positive 5? What about 3 and 8? Which one has to be positive when I add them together to give me positive 5? 8. So that means the 3 has to be negative. Let me stop there. That's kind of a big idea. Okay, so negative 3 added to 8 gives me positive 5. If you flip-flop the signs, you would get negative 5. And I'm not looking for negative 5. I'm looking for positive 5. Agree? All right. Bring this straight down. 3x squared. Bring this down. I definitely left a space. Agreed? Somebody fill that space for me. Say it. Someone say it. Negative 3x plus 8x. Done. Okay, now, friends, even if I put this backwards, if I want plus 8x minus 3x, the answer is going to be the exact same. Okay? All right. What do I have in common between these first 2 terms? 3. Anything else? X. Very good. If I factor a 3x out of 3x squared, what do I have left? X. minus, if I factor a 3x out of 3x, what is my placeholder I have to have? Good. Good. Bring this sign straight down. What do I have in common between these two? 8. If I factor in 8 out of 8x, what do I have left? And we're going to say minus because there's a minus, right? If I factor 8 out of 8, what's my placeholder? Are these the same? Who knows? All right, so my answer, x minus 1 and 3x plus 8. So friends, I didn't get all the way done with the notes, which is okay. I'm going to give you an assignment. I'm not going to give you a lot. But if I don't give you a lot, do I have your word you will attempt these problems outside of class? You don't come walking in tomorrow going, oh, I'll hurry up. Because friends, this is not something that you want to be like, oh, well, I get to class like 3 minutes early and I just write stuff down as fast as I can. This stuff has to be practiced. And again, my video will be up for you. Thanks for letting me sit by you. My video will be up for you to double check your work. I'm not going to give you a lot. I'm just going to give you some. So, how about we look at page 49 and 50. Page 50 is blank. And how about, will you try 1, 4, 7, and 10? Okay? Try it. We will definitely go over them tomorrow. But I need your word that you're going to try it. You're not going to come walking into class and say, oh, I'm just going to write down gibberish and I get points, so who cares? Got it?
Yeah.
So...